Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Nautilus, the Titan of the Depths. Nautilus is a beefy melee tank, adept at disrupting enemies, initiating fights, and growing as a damage threat to all his opponents. Additionally, his ability to jungle or fight in a variety of lanes makes him an excellent addition to any team. Nautilus's passive is Staggering Blow. Nautilus's basic attacks deal bonus damage and briefly root his target in place. Staggering together. If Nautilus hits terrain instead, he is pulled to that location and the cooldown is much lower. Dredgeline functions as a great initiation, mobility, and escape tool. Thankfully, it fills these roles quite well even with only 1 point, so I take a rank in Dredgeline early, but max it last. Titan's Wrath places a damage blocking shield on Nautilus for a few seconds. While the shield holds Nautilus's basic attacks, apply a large damage over time effect to his target and all surrounding enemies. Titan's Wrath deals the most damage of any of Nautilus's abilities as long as it holds, making him extremely scary if ignored. Because of this damage, I take it at level 1 when jungling, make sure to take a second point early, and consider enemies can be hit multiple times by these explosions, but take reduced damage by the additional hits. The use of Riptide is great to damage and prevent the retreat of running enemies, especially because they'll hit the expanding explosions as they run. As his primary disruption tool, I take a point early and consider maxing it somewhere between levels 9 and 13. Nautilus's ultimate is Depth Charge. Nautilus fires a shockwave that chases the targeted enemy. Any enemies hit by the shockwave as it travels are damaged and knocked up. Once the shockwave reaches its intended target, he takes even more damage and is also stunned. Generally, Nautilus will want to aim at a target far in the back to damage and disrupt the most enemies possible. As with all ultimates, I rank it up at level 6, 11, and 16. Nautilus is an exceptional ganking jungler, meaning that you should always look for lanes that you can gank. Seeing Sona and Caitlyn overextended, I push into bot lane. If you can help it, save Dredgeline, so I walk up and tag Sona with Riptide, Titan's Wrath, range, I leave her and wait in the brush in case there are counterattacks. If your opponents see you coming and run, it's okay to lead with Dredgeline. I head in and hit Riptide. I charge after them and tag Caitlyn with Staggering Blow, allowing us to kill her as I flash away from the turret. For the second kill, I wander in to tank one more turret shot and then run into the brush to recall. This gives Graves enough time to take down Sona before falling, and we come out ahead 2-1. Generally, after finishing Philosopher's Stone, you should be able to rely on it for mana regeneration. Once the Ancient Golem respawns, ping and call over a teammate to grab this buff. Keep track of how much damage it's taking, and once you've gotten it low enough, take a step back, stop attacking, and receive endless praise from your teammate. One of the best traits of Dredgeline is if you're aiming for a champion against a wall, you're guaranteed to pull yourself forward even if you miss. I head to gank Sona, but she dodges Dredgeline with Flash. Landing Depth Charge into Staggering Blow, we pick up a quick kill on Sona before retreating out of turret range. In teamfights, do everything you can to focus on squishy enemies near the back. I notice I can just barely tag Caitlyn with Dredgeline, which gives our Ziggs just enough space to land his combo, taking her down with Ignite. I pop Shurelia's Reverie to get him back to safety and notice the enemy Ziggs now available. I turn to cast Depth Charge and dive straight for him. Titan's Wrath keeps me safe as I hit Riptide on every single enemy, kill Ziggs, and flash to safety. Between the damage and disruption from Riptide while tanking all the damage from our opponents, sure to make it away, but I Dredgeline to the turret, dodge Rupture, walk past all the minions, and then tag Cho'Gath. An immediate Riptide and a Staggering Blow gives my team just enough time picks up the kill on Ezreal. And then as Lee Sin takes on Jax, I head up to stop Garen and Dr. Mundo from assisting with Riptide. I head in to help kill Jax and then stop Garen in his tracks with Staggering Blow. Once they actually turn to fight me, I tank for a little while and then use the terrain to easily land a dredge line and pick up a health relic. The Crystal Scar's close quarters can also force you to take your time. Here, as we chase Dr. Mundo by the refinery, I have to wait to clear the wall before tagging him with dredge line. This holds him in place long enough for us to pick up the kill and continue our offense. For runes, I take armor penetration marks, armor seals, magic resist per level glyphs, and gold generation quintessences. In Dominion, sub out the gold generation quintessences for movement speed. The goal here is to get very tanky while also dealing strong early game damage through staggering blow. My masteries are 0, 21, 9, focusing on being as tanky as possible, plus movement speed. Ninja Tabi or Mercury Treads is required and expand to Aegis of the Legion and Shirelia's Reverie. Counter your opposition with items like Frozen Heart, Force of Nature, and Locket of the Iron Solari. In Dominion, you'll have very similar build goals. Take upgraded boots as quickly as possible and add in similar items: Shirelia's Reverie, Frozen Heart, Force of Nature, Frozen Mallet, and Locket of the Iron Solari. Thanks for tuning in to the Nautilus Champion Spotlight. Please subscribe to the Riot Games YouTube channel above, and don't forget to thumbs us up just below the video.